This is the Zhiyun Rider M, a wearable GoPro gimbal that makes your action videos look stable and cinematic, removing all the camera shake that is usually associated with amateur GoPro videos. But as an action video shooter myself, I knew simple running was more than what this gimbal was designed to handle. Compatible with various action cameras, the GoPro Hero 4, the Hero 5, as well as any other action camera such as the SJ6 Legend or anything that weighs and is shaped like a GoPro will be handled by this. GoPros weren't designed to sit on a tripod. They are wearable cameras and not even handheld cameras like a DSLR. So whenever you're buying a stabilizer for your GoPro, it should be wearable as well. Otherwise, it will just limit the functionality of the GoPro. That is why I love the Rider M, and for our testing footages, you can see how smooth the results are. But that's not all. This gimbal packs in a few features that will surely surprise you. Zhiyun has taken a lot of care to pack in the perfect accessories with this gimbal. Let's start with the batteries. It takes two batteries to power the gimbal and total 1800 mAh is supplied. One set gives about 2.5 hours of battery life, so with two sets you're good enough for 5 hours of shooting, and you can buy extra batteries if you need more. GoPros have a terrible battery life, so you're probably wondering that even if the gimbal lasts, your GoPro will die long before that, but they have a solution for that as well. In the box, they've provided an FPV cable which charges the GoPro via the gimbal batteries, so as long as the gimbal has power, the GoPro will keep shooting. I personally never bothered about the GoPro batteries charge, and I just plugged in the FPV cable and I was shooting on the go, which was really hassle-free because you also don't need to change the GoPro batteries every time. The batteries of the gimbal can be charged using the included charger, and they've also built in nice charging indicators. While I was charging it with my Anker power bank, which is a fast charger, I could get these charged at about 1 hour and 15 minutes, which I think is a good recharge time. They have included a nice, soft and padded carrying case for the gimbal, and even with the camera still mounted, it goes inside and keeps it really protected if you want to carry it in your backpack. A hard case would have been better, but I guess because this gimbal is very well made and full metal construction, they have gone with a soft case, which should be enough to protect it. But my favorite accessory in the pack must be this pole. It has a nice rubberized grip and the bottom has a wrist strap, which was really helpful in the roller coaster ride. The top has a 90-degree tiltable ball head and it stretches out to become a really long selfie stick. Last but not the least, they provide the GoPro mount bracket, which makes it possible to mount this gimbal to any GoPro mount in the world. Adjusting the camera angle is also pretty easy. You can just set the angle manually and hold the position. The motors will recognize, and after a few seconds there will be a blinking light and then it will just hold this position. I think that is an amazing feature on this gimbal. While we were testing out the DJI Osmo Mobile, we found that feature was there in the Osmo Mobile, but it wasn't there in the Zhiyun Smooth Q, which I was testing as well. Since the gimbal doesn't have any buttons or any tiltable things, I think this is a must-have feature. Moving on, as I said before, the gimbal itself is made out of solid aluminum alloy. It is lightweight, and even with the GoPro and the battery, it's very light and wearable. On the chest mount, I didn't even feel it. On the helmet, yes, it is a noticeable increase, but it's still manageable for a short spin. They have also included a nicely detailed manual in English. It is a 3-axis gimbal, which means full stabilization in pan, tilt and roll axis, and even sudden movements didn't shake the gimbal, which is a very important thing for action videos. The battery compartment is a screw-on, and this primitive design is for weight saving. The bottom has a tripod mount, which can be really useful if you want to mount it to a monopod or a tripod. Specifically, those long monopods and this gimbal can give you some really nice jib shots or cool selfies even. Hidden on the right side, there is a port where you can connect compatible monitors via the 3.5mm jack to get a live view of what you're shooting. I see that most reviewers have missed this, but this is a really helpful feature for those who are doing handheld follow shots and professional videography, because up to GoPro Hero 4 Black there was not a live view on the back of the camera. So this is a very helpful and neat touch that they have included. Live feed is actually also transferred via the FPV cable, which I've showed you earlier. So if you want to use the live view, you have to connect the FPV cable. Remember, the gimbal works even without the FPV cable, but then you will be on the GoPro's batteries and the batteries will not get charged, which some people actually prefer because it retains the gimbal batteries more and they prefer changing the GoPro batteries as they move along. But that's not something I like. Mounting your GoPro is also pretty easy. Just loosen the brackets, insert the camera and tighten. Press and hold the power button and the gimbal comes to life. No calibration required. On the other side of the gimbal, it has a mode button. When you turn it on, it's in follow mode. In this mode, the gimbal follows your hand movement on the horizontal plane and rotates smoothly towards where you rotate the device. Vertical tilting is locked in mode 1. Pressing the mode button once takes it to lock mode. In this mode, the camera looks at a fixed direction. Both horizontal and vertical movements are locked. This mode can be useful if you are doing a walk around shot of any object or vehicle. If you are using a Bluetooth remote or your smartphone to control your gimbal remotely, then in this mode you can do vertical tilting as well as panning via the remote control. But in itself, it is locked. Mode 3 is selfie mode. Pressing the button 3 times turns the camera around 180 degrees for a selfie angle. This means this can work really nicely for handheld vlogging, and the motors are silent, which means your audio should also be pretty much usable. Let's listen to a sample audio. The global famous motovlogger RJ was one of the guys to receive it from ZuneTech, and that is how I actually came to know about the brand 2 years ago, and I've been waiting for it for some day to get one of those gimbals that RJ got. And not just because of RJ, it's because of I was really impressed by the stabilized video results of this gimbal. Let's take a look at some of the downsides of this gimbal. First of all, the GoPro menu button is not selectable because it is covered. We found a solution to this. You have to pair your GoPro to your smartphone using the Wi-Fi. Since the gimbal uses Bluetooth to connect to your smartphone, both the gimbal and the GoPro can together be paired, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, just select the setting that you want to record in and then plug in the GoPro. The gimbal also comes with an app which is compatible via Bluetooth, as I've already mentioned, but I personally did not go too much into the app because Zhiyun was helpful enough to give me a Bluetooth remote with this gimbal, which is actually sold separately, and I think it's about $50. It's very easy to pair it up, and once you pair it up, you can control the remote from far, and it works really well in my experience. The battery compartment, when it comes off, brushes against the metal, and we should have a better way to reduce metal on metal contact, but this is more of a nitpick and not an actual problem. We mounted the gimbal to the handlebar, and in that case the vibrations do filter out a little bit. I guess that's because of the smaller motors. Now remember, this gimbal is not waterproof, and also your GoPro camera is being mounted without its casing, so unless and until you're using the GoPro Hero 5 series, your camera is also not waterproof. I believe that they should also come up with a splash resistant model of this gimbal, which would be really helpful in shooting close to the beach or close to water, and would even expand the usability of this gimbal. For now, you have to keep it in dry land, and if there's rain, just pack it up and don't let it catch any rain. In the final verdict for the Zhiyun Rider M gimbal, I have to say that if you're using a GoPro to film your videos, you should buy this. I know the latest GoPro Hero 5 has internal stabilization, but that can never match what this gimbal can do. At $250, it is not cheap, but the way it performs and the set of included accessories makes the price really perfect. And I think it's really value for money after using it. I mean, initially I was like, yeah, it's a gimbal, it's $250, it's on the pricier side. But look at the battery life, look at the build quality, look at how small, amazing, and lightweight this is. And with all those accessories packed in and an extra set of batteries which they have included, when you look at all those point of views, you really think that $250 isn't a big price. I know that before buying, this price might look big, but once you use it, trust me, you're gonna think this is the best GoPro accessory that you have spent your money on, because this actually changes your GoPro video quality dramatically. Of course, if you're a helmet guy, if you're always keeping the GoPro mounted to your helmet, this will probably not work because this is too heavy and you might feel that problem. But if you're a mountain biking guy, you're using the chest mount on a motorcycle, or you do more than just one camera angle, then this is the best thing. So that's it. That's the review of the Zhiyun Rider M. Thanks for patiently listening to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. This is Rahul. Goodbye.
That is the end of the ride.